Unfortunately, I'm gonna be the hater on this card. I honestly, I do hate cards like these.
80% of the people were playing the same freaking deck.
Welcome to WWB Worldwide Broadcast. It's episode 31, and we're back. Me and Billy. Even though we had that exciting bit with Marty on the last episode, and you know what, Billy, I do have to say it. I think Marty, he's just such a charismatic guy. I think he overinflated our episode. He was like, I want to get to 100. What did he say? 102 was the benchmark? Or
he wanted 52.
Yeah.
And he probably blasted past that.
Oh, yeah. We went way past it. So we do appreciate having Marty on. And I know, he's doing everything he can to help us out with that. But yeah, definitely. I think he won so far. We haven't had Q or John on, so it's like we'll have to see if anyone can outdo Marty. But he made it fun with the giveaway, and yeah, eventually he'll pick some people to win the giveaway. So again, if you haven't already, I think you still have time. Go on that episode, watch the episode, because you're gonna have to timestamp, like you said, things, and then you also are gonna leave in the comments about say something nice about Marty, or just say, something that you want to talk about the episode for sure. But either way, episode 31, guys, moving along. We got a couple tournaments coming up. The Curious Crow is putting on a tournament, an Average Joe tournament, and that is this Saturday, which is the 20th, September 20th, on at 2 p.m. And it is, again, Average Joe format. For anyone who doesn't know why we have Average Joe format, basically we took, I guess people call it Pauper and Magic. Again, I'm not too big into it, but they call it like the poor man's version of the game, which is, I guess, like only common cards for Pauper. But for Average Joe, we have it as common, uncommon, and Ward. And so this is going to be the first Average Joe tournament. So the first uncommon, common, only card tournament that Ward has had so far. And so it's pretty exciting, to be honest, like just in general as a tournament, and to kind of see how those, see how exactly a different format might affect, metas, and just get people talking. And I think a lot of people are just kind of fans of like, what does the game look like in that state? Billy, like, I mean, what's kind of your take with that? It's like, I feel like that's a pretty big, like, incentive, or like how people kind of view it in these communities where they're like, ooh, I like to know that I don't have to pay a lot to get like uncommon, common cards, and I can play, in this kind of format.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good step for like the health of the game. People might not want to roll into a tournament, and they say, "Oh, I bought in some packs," but I don't have 18 legendaries to put in my deck. I don't want to get stomped, But if you have a common and uncommon only, pretty much everybody has every card. So now it just comes down to pure deck building and just seeing what you got. And so I think that's really fun. You take the, I'm not going to call it pay to win, but there's an element of, if you get lucky enough and you get enough packs, then you can have enough legendaries to maybe beat the next guy. But that's not the case with Average Joe. So I'm excited to see how it goes. And, you don't need a lot to get into it. So it should be a good time.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It sparked a thought in my head. It's just like I was gonna bring up to you, Billy. It's like, you started in Gen 1, so it's like I'm kind of curious what like your first tournament like experience was, because like for me, Average Joe is gonna be in my mind like it's kind of like a fresh start of like I got into Ward kind of in the middle, so it's like when I was going to a tournament, it's like a lot of people had like knowledge of like, oh, this is what I've seen, these are the decks I've played against, and so it's like it's kind of fun for me, at least for this Average Joe tournament, that it's like, you get to see decks that it's like, okay, no one has data on this as much as Billy. I know you're the data guy. It's like no one has data, no one has these things. So it's like I think you're gonna have a lot of people are gonna have like those moments at the tournament on Saturday and be like, whoa, like I did not even think about that combo, or like those cards didn't, and then like that is something that I feel like I missed out on just because I didn't like come in kind of at the very beginning of like Gen 2, or I didn't see Gen 1. So it's like, do you have that similar feeling? Like, what was your experience with like your first tournament, and how that might be similar to this Average Joe tournament?
Yeah, walking into my first tournament, the people that I play with locally have like what they have determined is the best strategy. And, people from different areas and different groups have their own thoughts on what's the best strategy. And that's probably going to happen with Average Joe as well. The card pool is not tremendously big, it's pretty small, in fact. So, but there's still a lot of options. I've built probably 5 or 6 very unique Average Joe decks, and they all play very differently. So, um, some of them use the same cards, like Elven Scout just seems to be a really, really good equip card that I put in every deck. Um, but, I think there's a lot of options. So I'm excited to see what people come up with. Maybe some combos that no one's thought of. And also, the other thing I'll say is in just like playing and practicing, it's kind of fun to use the cards that I generally don't use in my like standard format competitive decks. It's fun to like break those out and be like, yeah, like I never get to play with this card. I just throw it to the side every time I open a pack, and now I'm like, no, I need this. I need 3 of them. I'm putting them, So
Right.
I think it's gonna be fun. Get
No,
more playability out of the cards I own.
no, for sure, and that was the thing. Like when we did our league, we had that week of Average Joe, and it was like you said, we never really actually physically got to like crack out and like have the cards like in a deck. And yeah, like I just a couple days ago I built my deck, and I was like, oh yeah, like it does feel weird where you're just like, oh yeah, I need like 3 bowl powers, and you're just like, where did I put those? Like I need this card. And you're just like digging through your supply. You're just like, I don't think I've ever looked for these cards. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny that you say that because yeah, that's the feeling I had too when I was looking for all my cards to make my deck.
What's funny is I've played with Bolt Power exactly twice. The first one was on like the opening day, like the opening day of Gen 2, and
Mm.
I cracked like a bunch of starter packs. I'm like, oh, I gotta put these together. I'm like, okay, Bolt Power, that's a pretty like consistent card. I'm gonna throw that in there. I didn't have a lot of cards, so I'm like, yeah, that's great equip. And now that Gen 2's been out for a while, I've gotten maybe some of the bigger equip cards, and I've never used Bull Power. But now it's like we're coming back to Bull Power, baby. Put that in there. It's really fun. I like it a lot. So
Well, like you said, it's like when you do the crack packs, that's always that experience where you like sometimes just get those cards and you're just like, oh yeah, like Bull Power is a good card, but it's like obviously it's like there are cards that are better, you got to admit that, but it's like, oh, like if I'm in a crack pack and I'm like that's an equipped, I'm definitely taking that equipped, like I'm using that card, and so it's like yeah, it's kind of cool now, like you said, to be like now I'm constructing a deck. Now I actually have to like question. It's like, is that a good enough card to put in my deck for all these other uncommon and commons? And yeah, it honestly has been kind of a joy. And like you said, I think I honestly think that yeah, like that uncommon common is like so not very explored much, like at least in Ward as it stands. So it's like some of those creatures, like you're taking a look, like I really had to kind of go through and be like, oh yeah, like how could I utilize this card? Like I know we talked about Ranger on a past episode, and I was like, you know what, Ranger, even though I know he is a dice roll card, it's like he might not be terrible like in a common uncommon, just having kind of like I know we talk about like the fear card, it's like a legendary called Fear, and I think Ranger kind of is like a built-in fear on a creature in my opinion a little bit.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be a little less like good or like less odds, but it still like kind of does the same thing as Fear. And so either way, you know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, it's kind of fun just exploring all those lower rarity cards that yeah, when you're at the top end of competitive and you're like playing against legendary cards in a deck and epic cards in the deck, it's like you kind of don't really know what to expect going in. So yeah, I'm really excited for the tournament. I hope you guys are too. If you can make it out to it, again, it's on September 20th, again at 2 p.m. at Curious Crow, which is in the cities in Minneapolis. So if you are near the area, I know a couple people I've talked to, they said, oh, it's a little bit of a drive, but they're like, hey, I'm thinking about making it out to that. So that would be that's definitely going to be a good time, and we'd love to see you guys there. So yeah, definitely comment on this video if you're coming, and just maybe say what you're excited about with the Average Joe format, any of those things. Comment again, like, subscribe. I should throw that in there anytime I can too. But yeah, no, definitely want to hear what you guys have to think about that too. Moving on though, we have another tournament that I want to bring up. It is the Globe, the Irresistible Ward tournament at Globe News. That one is in Duluth, Superior area, kind of closer to Hibbing where the game was started. But again, this is a construct your own deck. So this isn't average Joe. This is actually just all the cards, in the standard format. But again, it's going to be a Swiss with a mix of a bracket, and like I said, I kind of helped John, the owner, come up with this this format, and so like I really do I've been pushing it to try to see, like, let's see what this looks like in Ward, because I really do think that this might be a very good thing when it comes to the time constraints with Ward, of be like, here, let's try to have a little bit of Swiss, so everybody can get a certain amount of games. If people don't know, Swiss is just random opponents, but what you can do with Swiss is you can make it be like, 3 games of Swiss, and then go into another kind of format to kind of like make it more consistent at the end, like make it like a bracket, and that's kind of where I came with it. And at least for me, like I said, I want to test this out. I don't really think many of the other like Ward tournaments have done this format in the past. A lot of times they just kind of like that double bracket, double elimination bracket kind of format, which again, nothing wrong with it. I do think though, when it comes to time constraints, that is where that bracket can sometimes feel very grueling and long, and like it's hard to kind of like cut down the time. And I think just having like best of one like Swiss kind of at the beginning to kind of filter out a lot of the games really fast, and then get to that top end where then you can maybe have like best of 3 brackets, or have a double in bracket but with like fewer opponents, so things kind of move a little faster. What's your thought on that, Billy? Where do you think about what these format changes, or things that looking forward maybe that we can adjust with the formats in Ward?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of Swiss plus a bracket. Just, I mean, time constraints, yes. Also, just because if I'm, pretend so I can't make it this time, unfortunately, but pretend I'm driving, I have 2.5 hours to go play at the Here's a Spoil Up tournament.
Mm-hmm.
If I know I'm driving and I'm at least going to get to play 3 or 4 games, like whatever the Swiss amount is,
Right.
then it's like, okay, I'm at least I can budget it that much time. And also, like, I know I'm getting at least, I'm not going to say money's worth, but I'm like, if I want to drive all that way, I want to play some games. I want to play some tournament games. I want to play against different people. I don't want to play and like lose twice and I'm done for the day. It's like, that wasn't fun.
Right.
I would at least like to play a couple games, and that gives everybody like, I don't know how many, if it's 3 or 4 or whatever it is. Like, it gives people like, okay, I know I'll at least get to play this amount of games,
Right.
And then from there, if I do really well, then I can go to like the winners bracket, whatever. I don't know.
Right.
So I like the idea a lot. I'm a big fan of it. Hope we see more of it.
I do like the guaranteed games, because like it's hard to explain when you talk about a double bracket elimination. But again, it's like, yeah, sometimes when you're playing, if you just kind of have like an unlucky day, or just things don't work in your favor, you're just knocked out after 2 games. And it's like, okay, it's like you said, some people make that drive, and it's just like, just getting time to actually play Ward against some people. I mean, there's tons of people in the Discord I talk to, and they're just like, I really haven't gotten to play like real, like good competitive games, and I really want to. And it's just like, I really like that Swiss allows people to, no matter what, you get at least those, like you said, 3-4 games. And it's just like, even then, it's like that. I think that feels a little better. On top of it, for at least for this tournament and a lot of tournaments that Globe throws on, every win you get, they give you a booster pack for like each win. And so it's like, again, I'm not sure if that's like a Magic thing. I know John, the guy, he throws a lot of Magic tournaments, and I think that's just kind of how they do their format there. But it is kind of nice. Yeah. It's like, hey, every time you do get a win, it's like, even if, like, let's say you got knocked out after Swiss, it's like, but you went you went 1 and 2, you're still getting a booster for that, and you're also getting a pack, when you pay. Again, it's $20 fee or $25 fee to play, but you still get a booster pack also on top of that. So it's like you were saying, Billy, getting your money's worth. It's like, if you're just showing up, you're almost getting your money's worth. Like, it's hard to really say that you're not like getting a good value out of that, because it's like, you got to think, like, they sell their boosters for like $6, so it's like, you get 1 win, you're already at a pretty good price. And again, not that the cost of it or whatever needs to match up. It's like the experience is the bigger part. And I just think all those things that John does, like, I really want to, shout out to him, because I think he really tries his best to throw on these tournaments that are, appealing and really, show that it's like, hey, we want to have this in our store. We want to have this competition. And so I'm really appreciative of that. And like I said, I think it'll be a great tournament. So again, that's on September 28th. So that's not, this week, but then next weekend it'll be, that's Sunday, I'm pretty sure. So, and that's from noon to 6 p.m.
Nice. I've got one more comment to add. The Swiss style also gives, I think it just gives a lot more value to every player, right? So like, if you're in the regular double elimination bracket, if you're on the top end, you're going to play a bunch of games. In the Swiss plus bracket, if you're on the top end, you're going to play a bunch of games. But for the people kind of in the bottom half, I think about their experience and like, let's pretend I play you round one and I lose. Okay, fine. I played Harry, I lost, whatever. And then my loser, my second bracket game, this is like a double elimination bracket. I play somebody else and I win. It's like, great. In your winner's bracket game, if you lose, there's a very real chance I play you again and then I lose again. And so it's like, okay, I'm done for the day. I've played 3 games and I played Harry twice.
Right.
And my deck just didn't match up well, and I played some other guy that I beat. Okay, I got to play 3 games, but it was only 2 people. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to play the rematch. Like, I'm going to lose. Mm-hmm. But in the Swiss format, you're always going to play 3 separate people. It's like, I get more tests per my deck.
Right.
And even if it's a bad deck, I get to see it against 3 different types of decks and 3 different types of people who play differently. So I just think there's a lot more value in that, so I like it a lot.
No, I really like what you're saying there, and that's the thing, too. I guess if people don't really know how Swiss also works, it's like if you lose your first game, your next opponent will also be someone who is 0-1. So you'll be 0-1 because you didn't win, right? And so then you're up against, in theory, you're up against an opponent that should be more your level, and that's kind of how Swiss like balances all that out too. So again, like Billy's saying, it's like you first off, you won't ever get matched up with that same person, another like one of the people you've already played in, at least in that Swiss portion, and so you will get to play 3 different people, and those people should in theory be kind of close to like where your game level is, so you can at least get to test your deck out, because like you said, maybe someone's deck does just blow you out of the water, and it's just like, okay, that I learned that lesson, but at least now going forward, I can, maybe see where my deck does, improve or like thrive or whatever, and I, like you said, Billy, I just think more games better, right? The more games everyone gets to play, I think the better. And like, as much as I do like how competitive like a double bracket, elimination kind of format is, I do like the fact that Swiss does give people that practice, because at the end of the day, we all are still pretty new to Ward. I think the more data we can get on games and the more games we can have played is just going to make, the experience better and better. So yeah, a little bit on the Swiss, a little bit on the stuff, but again, make it out to that Globe tournament, and again, we'll probably on the next episode bring it up too, because like I said, me and Billy, we are on the competitive end, so we do like to promote as many tournaments as we can, and I know that the Discord's growing and people are all over the United States and they really want to come to these tournaments, and hopefully by having this shown, it's like we can maybe get some other like at least Billy in the future, I'd like to get some store owners on that maybe aren't from our area and just kind of help them familiarize themselves with like, here, this is kind of what we're doing with our tournaments, maybe you could replicate this or just make this easy access so that a lot of these store owners feel comfortable, like, here, let me put on a Ward tournament, let me do these things so people all over the United States can kind of do it. At least that's kind of where my thought is with that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're pushing for as 2 people that are pretty competitive. I mean, what's your thoughts on it, Billy? But that's kind of where I'm at with it, at least.
100%. Completely agree.
No, exactly. Like you said, just really want to make sure that, we're trying to get all these tournaments going. And eventually, I'm hoping that all these regions have their own little tournaments at all their little stores. And, I think at some point that would be kind of fun to have like, oh, there's, the West Coast and the East Coast and all these different areas. And then they all have like their little regionalized thing. And then it all culminates over to, for right now, they have the Ward Bowl. And, so it'd be like going to like the big event and we all kind of have to like qualify for it. I think in my mind, in the future, that's kind of how I like to look at Ward, at least with these tournaments. So this is the little bit that me and Billy, we can give back, and we can promote all these tournaments that are going on right now, and give you guys a little bit of insight on that. But with that, I think we're gonna move forward away from the tournaments, and now Billy, we got a thing in the Discord that was talking about sneak peeks for Gen 3. I know it's been kind of it's been kind of a hot topic. A lot of people If you don't know, they're doing a sneak peek for the 150 Club. And Billy, we haven't really talked too much about the 150 Club either on our podcast, but the 150 Club is basically there's two generations. For Gen 1, there is two different printings, and if you get all 150 cards of those two printings, or for Gen 2, just get all 150 cards of that printing, you're put into the 150 Club, which basically just means that you got collected all the cards of that generation. And that's kind of like a little fun award that the award staff put on, where it's like, here, this just kind of shows how much commitment you put into Ward and how much you're contributing to it. And so they like to give back to those people. So it's been a lot of people have been searching for those cards. A lot of people have been trying to get that 150 because they really want to come in to this event. But again, this is at Globe News again. So this is where that other tournament we were just talking about is at. But this is a sneak peek. It's Sunday, October 12th. So you still, if you're not in the 150 Club, this is a good time, if you're really trying to find all your cards, get all your things, do your best to collect every card if you want to be a part of this, and get out there and get to see, I guess, the sneak peek of the Gen 3, which I know a lot of people are very excited for and anticipating. So hopefully that'll be a pretty fun event. I mean, I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of potentially new faces of people who are just, I like to say they're like the committed people, Billy, to like Ward, like I will say like they have quite a big investment in it. As somebody who I myself have collected the 150. It's not like the easiest feat, out there. And so, what's your thought with the way that they're doing the 150 Club, kind of like a sneak peek preview?
One correction to what you said is you could do Gen 2 first edition, Gen 2 or Gen 1 second edition, or Gen 1 first edition. You can't mix and match the Gen 1 first and second edition. They have to be completely separate.
Right, and they're both 150, so you could get 150 of the first Gen 1, first edition, or 150 of the Gen 2 edition.
Yeah, and then if you complete any of the three sets, you get a playmat with your card of choice with the 150 logo on there and what generation it was. So and that's free if that's like Ward's gift to you for completing the set. So you have the opportunity to get 3 playmats if you complete them all. So, and then no one has completed. Yeah, right. No one has completed the foil 150 yet. So, is there a special prize for? I don't know. We'll find out. So
a foil play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yuck.
But the sneak peek for Gen 3 playtesting is going to be fun. The people who are in the 150 Club are encouraged to bring their cards to mix and match and try to break the game with the new cards. So we'll get to see them all and play with them. So I'm excited. I'm particularly excited about playing the common and uncommon cards because I have a feeling everyone's going to flock to, give me the legendaries, give me the mythic, and I'm going to be like,
right.
Give me the commons. I want to play some average Joe. Because I'll have those right away when I buy, my boxes or whatever.
Right, that'll be the first thing you kind of get to play. So yeah, like if you don't have all the cards. No, I agree with you, Billy. Speaking of getting all the cards, though, which one out of the two of us, the WWB boys, are gonna get the 150 Club first? Who's getting the 150 of Gen 3? That's the who's gonna.
Oh, Gen, you can have it.
I just wanted Billy to admit he's not really someone to get the 150. That's why honestly, everybody was like, I wasn't sure if you were gonna be collecting it all, but I think you had a pretty good opportunity where somebody was giving away their Gen 1 first edition collection and took advantage of that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. I bought their collection to get 10 cards.
Oh, well, there you go.
that could be hard. I was 10 cards away from the first edition.
Hey, if I needed to get my foils, Billy, I would buy 40 cards just to get my one foil I need. All right, it's all good.
Yeah, see, I mean, the struggle at the last stretch is the hardest. So
yeah.
But yeah, so but as in terms of Gen 3 150. I mean, if I get there, yay. I mean, but it's not necessarily a goal. Now, I mean, I say that, but if there's like a card I just fall in love with and I have to have the playmat, yeah, maybe I'll go for it. But
Heck yeah.
uh,
Gotta always keep it on the table, Billy. And you never want to just
yeah,
say I'm not
you
gonna.
never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But no, I mean it's a very, like I said, I mean, at least in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord and you're watching this video, definitely get into the Discord. You just go to discord.com and you type in Ward the Trading Card Game, and boom, you can apply, get in the Discord, become a member. And yeah, I think that when you are in the Discord, it's kind of like the biggest thing right now. Obviously, everybody's waiting for the new release, and just to say, I know a lot of people are like, ooh, I need to get my releases like in Magic. They want, 4 or 5 releases every year. And it's just like, honestly,
No,
like,
I don't.
I think yeah, personally, I do think it's a little overkill. I do kind of like just how, the anticipation waiting. And I also think with the cards, I think the Ward staff with this game did a very good job of making, like, they made a lot of fun little goofy things in the game, and a lot of fun artworks, and a lot of fun little Easter eggs. And like, again, with us too, like they're very open to exploring formats that I think it's like you can keep these sets so fresh for so long. Like, we're just figuring out Average Joe now, you know what I mean? And it's like all these cool things that have come just from like that time period of Gen 1 and Gen 2. And so it's like, I really do think that it's like, I don't want the Ward staff to feel like they have to be pushed to be like, here, let's just start spitting out generations. It's like, you know what? Honestly, like, go at your own pace. Like, our community really, I think, just loves to, have it as a part of our aspect of like our lives. And I don't know how you feel about it, Billy, but I honestly am and have no problem with like, waiting a year for the generation to come out. But I understand some people might want things a little quicker.
I want to know a little quicker, but I can wait. Having it be take their time and be thoughtful with it is better than just rushing it and spitting out a set every 3 months. I mean, that would be overkill, and you get fatigue and be like, this is too much. And
No.
plus, I want time to enjoy the cards. So
Well, that's the thing too. I think it gives you such an opportunity to dive. Like, I just think about all the different iterations and changes of just like where we were at the beginning of Gen 1 or Gen 2 only. Again, that's when I came in, is when there was just Gen 2 only, because they were doing fixing the reprint for Gen 1 and doing the second edition reprint. And so it was kind of fun. And I think, not, again, this is all speculation and rumors. Again, I'm not saying that these are definite, but I think there is a plan for them to potentially want to do just like Gen 3 only part of the season too, which I would really love that if they
oh, they're
adapt that. I don't know what you've heard too much about it, Billy, but I've been hearing a little bit of it, and obviously we had Marty on, and we chatted a little bit, and it sounds like that might be a little bit of the direction that they might be going, is just like having like a Gen 3 only part of the season, which if you listen to one of our older podcasts, I think you might have changed your take, Billy, but I really would like to have just Gen 3 power on its own shown, and just kind of get to experience what that feels like just as its own generation, and not have it already mixed in there. But what's your take with it? How do you feel about them going about doing that with the Gen 3?
there will be Gen 3 only tournaments. That's a fact. So I'm excited about it, and there should be. Enjoy the set as it is. Play with it as it's made. Um, if it's a good thing too, because like if I say, okay, I'm gonna take 2 cards out of Gen 3 and add them to my monster deck already, it's like, are you really playing with Gen 3? Like, yeah, technically, but if you play with it in just its set by itself, you have time to discover the combos and discover how the cards are supposed to interact with each other. And I'm sure we'll see cards interact with other, Generation 2, Generation 1. So I mean, it you need time. I think doing the Gen 3 only tournaments is a good way to do that.
Well, like you said, it just creates that environment, because obviously, I like what you're saying too. I think if you are at home and, like you said, you want to already try out those combos of Gen 2 and Gen 1 and then Gen 3 all mixed together, it's like you can. If you have the cards already, it's like nothing, no one's going to stop you there. But I do just kind of like to have that little capsule of like, here is what Gen 3 is in like a competitive scene, so we have like that. Again, I'm kind of a history guy. I like to make sure that we kind of like document history, and I think just having the gen on its own to compare the power of that gen just against Gen 2 only, just against Gen 1 only, I think will be a very going down the future. I think is a very like kind of fun and interesting way to really like pose of like hi like here this is how this looks like, it's like this is like the gen, like you were saying, Billy, the gen by itself. And I think I'm all for that too, of just like really showcasing the power of each gen as it stands by itself. And then obviously, yes, at some point I do want there to be a competitive play, and by the way that Marty made it sound, it's like, and Joe and all these other Tommy, when everyone was on here, that it was like, here we do want all these cards to be used, right? It's like they do want these cards to be able to be played potentially for the future of Ward all the way to whenever, and so it's like I think it is good to kind of separate those things, and then also just have like the overall feeling of like this is what it feels like to play the complete thing of Ward with Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, all those gens. So it's like I really like just that thought of like, here, let's get Gen 3 by itself, and hey, this testing thing will be a very good thing, a very fun thing, and I'm glad that they're letting the community kind of be a part of it with the 150 club. I think this is a very unique thing. They haven't really done a 150 club, play test or many of these things before, Billy, that I'm aware of. I don't know if you
Boss.
can.
They did a 150 boss test,
Yeah, they did the one. Okay, that was 150 boss test. I mean, they also did it at
and
That was at FanCon. They did the boss battle too, but. Oh yeah. Okay. I guess.
they did a boss battle after it was released, but the beta testing for it was for the 150 only.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. So yeah.
and that's the latest product they've released. So it kind of looks like if you're joining the 150 club, you're going to get early access, which is kind of
Yep.
nice.
To these events that, like you said, of kind of the stuff that they're like, getting ready to release. Which again, it's all there to help out and be a part of it and support it. So again, if you want to get on that 150, go out and collect. Go try to find the cards. Complete your collection, and then you can definitely be a part of these things. And once you're part of the 150, I mean, that's the beauty of it, is like Billy was saying, you only need to complete one gen and then you're kind of in. So it's like you're not, even if you're not able to maybe have enough finance to like keep doing this for every generation, hey, once you're in the 150, at least as it stands right now, you're in the 150. So just take that into consideration. And like I said, I think it is kind of cool that the Ward staff appreciates and shows these things, that it's like, here, this is what we give to these members, to these people that have supported us in this way, that have given a lot of their energy and their time. Let us let them have this experience. And I think it is a really cool thing. So again, Globe News, October 12th. It says here 10 a.m. Kind of early. I hope that that's the time they have on their little thing, that at least that I can find. And maybe it's a different time now, but from what I have, it says 10 a.m. So bright and early. So if you're coming from out of town, you might want to come in the night before, so you're ready to just rock and roll and show up there. So that's a Sunday, October 12th at 10 a.m. at Globe News. Be part of the 150 Club. Again, go in the comments. Just tell us how hyped you are for the sneak peek of Gen 3, and I can't wait to talk about it after it's happened. So will be very fun.
Speaking of Gen 3, why don't we talk about the sneak peek that everyone got in the Discord the other day?
Oh yes, I think we can definitely talk about that, Billy. What was the sneak peek in Gen 3? I'll let you take it.
All right. And I guess this was posted on social media or whatever, but let's see. Where do it go?
It definitely.
We had a creature, Dark Angel. It's an AL7, speed 7, HP 70, which is kind of like all those angel cards. So got a little bit of thematic going there. And it's dark looking, pretty hard dude. Got a big old cloak, evil looking eyes. I like it a lot. And then its attack is 3 dice plus 4. And its effect is, while this card is on the field, your opponent's creatures, AL, and speed are reduced to 1 and cannot be increased. So they get like permanent, ball and chain, permanent, all the way down to 1, zombified / zonj / whatever. Um, and I guess this basically means that Dark Angel always attacks first, and unless they have a bear wolf over there,
Yeah,
so
you
whatever.
gotta. Hey, there's always the
So
counters. Yeah.
Dark Angel will always be faster, and Dark Angel will always hit, which not always a guarantee in Ward.
Yeah,
So
and but a 3/4 too is those are like like not a lot of creatures have those stat lines, especially at like what is the AL7? So it's like that's not a very
L7, yeah,
that's a pretty beefy AL7. Like if you look throughout
and
all
it's
the
got
other
70 health.
but again, it's like if you look through a lot of the other AL7 creatures, it's like I don't think there's many that can match those base stats that he had that Dark Angel has that I'm aware of when I'm thinking about it. There might be a
The Seer 1+1.
yeah, but either way, I mean, hey, Fabricio, you killed it.
Oh yeah,
The dark vibe underneath the wings that looks like he's just concealing. It's almost like you're like looking into like a black. Again, this is my own opinion. Everybody can go in the comments and say what the vibe of the card is, but I just love the how dark underneath him looks, and then it's like to contrast with like the light above. It's just like, oh yeah, like this dude, he's got some secrets, some darkness, to him. I really just like. I don't know how much you've looked at the artwork, Billy, but just Fabricio, you can tell he,
yeah.
he took that little time and effort to be like, oh yeah, like this really just like gives that feeling and that vibe of like how dark this character is.
I love the details on the armor, and I also really like the background, the red background. It looks like he's a doom and gloom kind of angel, so he's not bringing good news.
Yeah.
And the red matches the border too. That's a nice. I think this will be a really good looking card in the foil.
Yeah, the one thing, and not that I think the game needs this, but thematically in my mind, I kind of do like when you like kind of like characterize each like class of like things. Like I know we brought up orcs, like this is supposed to be like the orc like generation, I guess you could kind of
Invasion,
say.
yeah,
Yeah, and so it's just like I kind of.
or attack. I don't know what
And
it is.
again,
Yeah.
there is a card that already exists in Ward that's called Orc. Again, an uncommon card. Potentially could be a average Joe deck card at the moment. Yeah, but anyway, but Orc's effect is when it hits, and then if you roll a 6 in the hit, you get a special effect from it. And I would like, again, they don't have to, but I think it would be kind of cool if they were like, oh yeah, that's kind of just like the Orc mechanic, and like same with like Angel, it could have been like the Angel mechanic. But again, I'm not too upset that they kind of went a different way with it and just kind of have their own special effect to them. But I don't know, you know what I mean? As someone who's played gnomes a lot now, Billy, with the as my league deck, I do kind of see a little bit of like I kind of wish it was like you keep those thematics a little bit similar, but at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. It's something going forward. I kind of like.
Orc is if one of your attack dice is a 6, not hit.
Yep. If one of your is it attack dice or hit dice?
Attack dice.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess I didn't. I thought it was hit dice, but yeah, attack dice makes a lot
uh,
more sense.
Orc plus attack beacon. Ooh, scary.
Well, yeah. Oh, you're just saying for uncommon. Yeah, average Joe.
Yeah. Maybe some nightmare claws. I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah.
Claws of the Beast, baby. You're not thinking of there's a better
Oh
one.
yeah, you gotta get there you go. So, cook. So, but yeah, I mean, it's the stat line matches with the angel cards.
Yeah.
Angel is a 7/7/70, and so is Elite Angel. I think it's also the same. So they got
Right.
that theme. It's not effect theme. It's more of a character theme. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, exactly. And like I said, not that I think all the effects have to like match in their categories. And obviously, he's a dark angel, not a normal angel. So you know what, he's allowed to have his things. But I mean, just as power level, like like you're saying, Billy, it's like the fact that it is AL and speed. I mean, there isn't many cards that affect two different stats and to that extent. I mean, a fun card that I really like that not everybody puts a lot of thought into is Curse. But this guy is kind of has like a built-in curse and
Yeah,
like
that's right.
ball and chain put together, and it's just like, hey man, this card speaks to me 100%.
Yeah,
I love that kind of ability, but I do think I'm trying to just think it's like, Yeah, there are a lot of matchups. Assassin obviously is the big one that I feel like people are probably going to be like, oh yeah, here he is, the card that he is the true like assassin killer because his stats basically do not let her live. Like he will just one shot her if they don't have any way.
3+4, yeah, is an average of 14.5 damage. So yeah,
No,
assassin will die.
exactly. It would be very
Can go
unlikely.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, if it like you'd have to roll all ones basically to not kill her. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, how do I feel about this card? It is a very strong epic. Like I definitely could see place where this card is going to be played. Like you said, just kind of guaranteeing yourself in one card to be like, I always attack first, unless obviously Beowulf. There might be a couple other things, but definitely. I do think this card is definitely when we talk about, I don't want to bring up the word power creep, but obviously this card is a pretty strong epic, like for out of the epics we already kind of have. Like I definitely could see this card being played in competitive.
I wonder if we're going to see. So every generation they've released an Angel card. We've gotten Angel straight up, Gen
Elite
1,
Elite
rare.
Angel.
We've got Elite Angel, which is an uncommon in Gen 2. Now we have Dark Angel, which is a epic.
Wait. Is
in
Elite
Gen
is
3.
Elite Angel have the same stats as Angels? Are they all the same?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think so. Let me double
Oh,
check.
okay. I was about to say if that's the
I
case
could be
too,
wrong.
that's pretty funny. If it's an AL7, but then he just that is kind of funny.
I'm like 90% certain. I'm gonna look it up.
No, it's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously we
Yeah,
talk about.
Elite Angel's a 7. He's a 7/7/70, and
See, I'm telling you,
he's
they're
a 2+4.
I'm telling you, they're little Easter eggs that they put on those things, the things that you don't really notice, and then like until you kind of look at them. But I mean, that's kind of funny that they kept all the stats. Well, like you said, they just keep the speed, the HP, all those things the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, as it stands with Angels, like there was a deck. I mean, I talk about Yu-Gi-Oh that I played that had a lot of. I mean, there was a big time where there was tons of Angel cards, and they had this whole like they were kind of like one of the first decks that really had like a super good synergy. I would say like they built a lot of cards around them. And so I'm definitely someone who likes my Angels. I mean, Harpies and Elkanos kind of fit that vibe, as Marty was saying in the last one. Elkanos are like Harpies that are that kind of ascended or whatever. It's like, hey, I like me my wings, and I like me my flying creatures.
I'll add. I think there's a lot of Easter eggs I put in board, but I'll add Angels being 7/7/70. Like 7 is considered in the Bible the perfect number. So
Yeah.
if they're angels and this is perfect, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like you said, the ward staff, they put some thought into there. Like I know, it's like a lot of. I kind of don't like that a lot of people think that it's like, oh, ward is like it's so simplistic. Like I do like that the like play style of ward has some simplisticness to it. It's like it's not too like overbearing where it's like anyone can kind of just play it, but I do like that. Yeah, they throw in all these things that are just like kind of fun. Like the more you play, like you said, it just makes these things feel fresh longer. It's like, oh yeah, all these aspects I get to just slowly find out and read. Even their little like card text, it's just like, oh, this is little flavor text. It's like even those things are just fun and enjoyable, and it is just kind of fun to see how they go forward with just being like, oh yeah, these are little Easter egg, these are little things. Let's see if every Angel now going forward has 7/7/7 stat some stats. Hey, it's just it's something fun to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. If anyone thinks Ward is too simple, I'll play my turbo deck against you, and you can tell me if it's simple.
Okay, I like that thought. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. But yeah, no, like I said, keep up the sneak peeks, board staff. We love this stuff. I appreciate that they're very like open with it too. It's like you said, I like that they hide some things, but some things they're just like, here, we really want, we're maybe they're proud of it or they just want to show it off, and I think it's really fun when they just like drop that stuff and it's just like, oh yeah, again, just things that keep you involved and you're like, ooh, something to talk about. Let's talk about this Angel card. And yeah, no, I love this. I love the build up that they're having for Gen 3. It's awesome with the sneak peek and everything. With that though, I think that's kind of all we got for the sneak peek Gen 3 stuff. Moving forward though, Billy, I think maybe we can make some irresponsible takes. And honestly, now that we have some of these sneak peeks for Gen 3, maybe you're feeling up to. I mean, obviously, it's hard to say if they're irresponsible takes when the community hasn't really got to see them. And if anyone doesn't know, again, these irresponsible takes is basically there's a guy named Scott who's in the Discord, and there's a card Irresistible Love, which everybody's got a feeling for it. If you don't know what that card does, I would recommend you go look it up. But it basically just kind of shuts you out of everything. You can't play magic. You can't do damage to their creature. It's a very powerful uncommon card. Again, it's the only limited uncommon card that I'm aware of at the moment. And it also is another Average Joe. I think that'll be a big card that a lot of decks and Average Joe will definitely have their copy of. But either way, Scott, we were talking about Irresistible Love in the Discord, and he said Irresponsible Love. So they made this card called Irresponsible Love, which is kind of just not a real card, but obviously somebody made a fun version of it. And so I took that and we made Irresponsible Takes. And so this is basically just hot takes where me and Billy, give takes about things in Ward that we feel like the community themselves, like it's maybe not the community view or like the way that they look at Ward at the moment, and things that kind of we can take and kind of say that we think are a little bit out there. And so Billy, let's do some irresponsible takes. Do you want to take it first, or you want me to throw one out there?
You throw one out there, but I'll add a correction. Although you wouldn't have known it, so it's okay. Um, Giant Rat used to be an uncommon in first edition, and they changed it to a rare when they did the reprint. So that was limited. So Irresistible Love could have been the second limited.
But it didn't. They didn't
but,
have rare, but they didn't have rarity back then, right? I mean, they did, but
no, they were rarity, but they just weren't printed on the cards.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You just had to know it.
You know what? I'm gonna say it wasn't established, Billy. So we'll just have to say that's not all right.
Sure.
I'm just kidding.
Sure.
But hey, now that it's rare, we can make that argument.
You go first. Irresponsible it up.
Oh, okay. My irresponsible take. I think that people are not going forward. I think that bounce mechanics are not really being looked at as much as they should be. And I honestly think that, okay, Billy's all right. As someone,
yeah, because they killed it.
Okay, Billy. Yeah, fine. So
yeah, it's your take. Continue. I'm sorry.
So again, I mean, not a lot. There's a lot of new people coming into Ward, and again, I just don't think that everybody. When you look at the cards, especially bounce cards, I will say they are cards that like you don't always see the inherent value right away. It's like, ooh, I just get to bounce a monster or a creature back to their hand or whatever, or bounces both of our creatures. But if you have played in the competitive scene, you definitely have seen the power of these cards. So it's like I do want to kind of give this knowledge to the people who, again, I would say it's a hot take, but it's also one of those things where I think it's also like an educational thing where I want to kind of just explain it is like, a lot of times people, you look at like healing and these things that like, oh, how do I maximize the HP out of my creature, right? And so it's like, I know there's a card like Healing Tree that gives you like 50 HP to your creature, which is all cool and all nice. There's epic loot that fully heals your creature, but those cards you need to play and it has to, be put on your creature, where like a lot of these bounce cards, you can just bounce your creature or their creature, depending, it has a double function. And if you bounce your creature, you're in theory resetting your HP, as long as it's not like a sack creature that could affect your graveyard. Like, and this is where I think the power of like AL6 is like very strong. And I think it definitely going forward, like Ward staff definitely needs to think about their AL6s and how well they. I really think that is a category that's definitely going to need to probably like in the future be a little bit adjusted. But again, they thrive from these bounce cards where you don't need to sack a creature. Your opponent might sack a creature. You're bouncing, forcing your opponent to bring out a smaller creature, and you're able to reset your HP. And like in the competitive scene, this is basically just like free healing that you just get extra. Every like 100 HP you bounce back and put back on the field, that's 100 more HP your opponent has to go through, right? And so it's like I really do think like people like going forward, like as much as we're talking about Gen 3, I don't know how much this bounce mechanic is going to continue to be something in War that they want to like have as like so prevalent. I mean, if you look at Gen 1, they have Terrifying Roar, Foolish Tricks, Judgment, Wrath of the Old Ones. And it's like if you look at Gen 2 in comparison, they had zero bounce mechanics besides a creature called the Ancient One. And if you can tell, you think
the old one.
or sorry, the old one of the Cthulhu-looking creatures. And basically, they really definitely toned down how much bounce they have from that generation. And so I do think that maybe they might be trying to filter it out a little bit. But again, it just does show you the power in Ward, how strong these bounce mechanics are. But yeah, that's my hot take, Billy. I think that people are undervaluing how powerful the bounce mechanic is in Ward.
Certainly think the Ward staff doesn't undervalue it since they've nerfed it. But I mean, it used to be Terrifying Roar used to be pick a creature, so you can pick your own. Uh, you could used to have three judgments. Wrath the old ones used to do all your cards, not just your primary. I mean, and I don't know. Now they're all limited. Yes, it's good. Yes, it does heal. Yes, you're correct in all those things, but they're not. They didn't really add any balance cards to Gen 2. I highly doubt balance cards will be in Gen 3. They have obviously made their stance that they hate it. So I wouldn't. I'm not looking for any balance cards. They're not going to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Hey, to be honest with me, like you said, the way they've changed limited summons, Marty literally ruining my heart last episode. I'm kind of glad. I'm hoping that bouncing just kind of doesn't exist because then hopefully my Elkanos can maybe still find a place in this world. Please, free
It's
my
not
bird.
changed yet.
I know it's
It's
not.
not dead yet.
Hey, I already in my head. You gotta think, Billy. It's like a chess game. You gotta be like 12 steps ahead. I'm already trying to prepare myself for when this whatever inevitable weird change that they're throwing into the game will exist. Well, it's whatever. Like I said, it's probably healthier. Honestly, limited summons should probably have like a very general like how they're played. I do like
Just think of Alkanos like the bees. If Hive Lord leaves, so do they. So if their main leaves, so does your Alkanos. So that's it.
yeah, I know, and I like I said, I think it will be healthier going forward. I do like having these little mechanics that or like these like little like unique abilities that function inside of a mechanic that exists in Ward. I think if I was to say like creature design, what's the best creature design? I think that is, in my opinion, the best creature design. It has a mechanic that is just like a general mechanic in Ward, but they also put a little unique spin onto it. Like I said, I think those things. Either way, we're getting away from my hot take, but hey, birds might be back with less bounce. So you know what? But either way, still value the bounce because if Ward's trying to make it so that these cards are playable, like everyone can play these cards from the very beginning, bounce is always going to be something that I think will be a pretty big staple in the competitive scene of Ward.
Okay. I have to do one now, right?
Yeah, Billy, hit us with a hot take. There you go. Follow that one up.
Um, Irresponsible take. My irresponsible take, and maybe I'm not.
Hit us with it.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Time Weaver is undervalued. I think
Ooh,
uh,
okay, I like this.
I think I don't know, the ability to just shut off lightning cards is kind of crazy. So it's like I
Coming
can
from the
either
guy
prepare for
who you're the silence from the or scroll of silence guy. You're the negate guy. So yeah, I'm sure that card probably affects you a little bit differently than some other players.
I don't like seeing Time Weaver, and maybe I shouldn't say anything, but I mean it's a good card. Um it being able to just guarantee lightning cards don't get played is kind of crazy, especially because I like playing them and I like maybe I'm a bit of like a blue magic player and I just like counterspelling everything, but um that just shuts it off, and you can't like mind sap it because what do you know? Mind sap
Mine's
the
up.
lightning card.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of makes me scared every time I see it. And then, I mean, it is a double-edged sword, so like that
Yeah.
means you also can't play lightning cards, but you build the deck with that in mind. So, you know, yeah, it's a pretty good card, and I don't see it played really a lot.
I, I do. I mean, if I'm going to attack your take or like kind of say that it's not not as crazy as you're saying, like I do think it is undervalued, but I think that is kind of the aspect to it that I feel like people like when they first initially look at that card is like, ooh, like yes, I'm getting this value, but my opponent is also getting this like that same value. And as Ward stands right now, I know there was a meta like you said that was negate meta, but with the implement of Gen 2 only or like the Gen 2 cards, I think a lot of decks tend to not function solely off of negate cards. And so I would say the Time Weaver's impact of like being as strong as you might think she is, I think it's maybe not as big because I think a lot of those like if you look at the elite, let's just take the Elite 8, right? Cards that we put on the Elite 8 list. It's like Magic Steel is what the only card that is affected by her that doesn't work because and
Magic Steel's not on the Elite Eight, but Scroll of Silence is.
okay, all right. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't remember if we had Magic Steel on there or
They're
not.
good.
But yeah, Scroll of Silence. Either way, is the only one. So there's only one on the Elite 8 of the cards, and we went down the list. Holy Light works under Time Weaver. Visitor from Beyond works under Time Weaver. Ghost from the Past or Ghost of the Past works under Time Weaver. All right, a lot of those I can keep going down. All those other cards can work underneath her. So it's like I don't know. Like in the grand scheme of things,
Maybe
I
it's
don't know how much she actually like. Yes, I get what you're saying with the benefit that she can bring to you, but I still think like you said, it's like a lot of people can still play their game with her on the field.
sure. I guess I think of, if I'm playing somebody and they have four lightning cards in their deck, and I prepare and have zero, and I play Time Weaver, I've now made four of their cards, or maybe three if they've already played one. I made three of their cards dead cards in their deck, and those are cards they can't use anymore. And I think that's got some value. So, and if you're playing me, you're killing a lot of cards. So
I think the
I
most
like the gates.
no, that's a fair take, but I think the big thing about Time Weaver that a lot of people don't think about, and I was curious if you were going to bring this up. If you look at her stats, yes, she is a sack creature, but she is 12 speed, so she speeds off with almost all those like scary speed cards, and she also has a +5 hit modifier, so she like basically does hit almost every single time. So like again, stat wise, she's a 2/5, like pretty good stats. Like I have to at least give her that. Like it's like she isn't like a card where it's like yeah you have this crazy effect but you don't have good stats. Cough cough Bunnysaurus is kind of one of those cards that I would put in that category. Unfortunately, Billy.
Keep
But
pony swords out of your mouth.
all right, but hey, I'm just saying is like that's the thing about Time Weaver though is she has pretty decent stats just as it is as a creature. So it's like I don't know. I kind of give her that it's like speed 12 is nothing to laugh at, and having that +5 that almost guarantees most hits on most creatures is pretty good stat line. So like you do have a little bit of viability there that I think when you talk about just like she isn't a bad creature in general even without her ability, but like with that ability too, I think yeah, some decks are gonna thrive really well using that card, and something people should definitely think about yeah with their deck building. So I like your hot take because I do think I have not seen many decks with Time Weaver.
You're up.
All right, I'll do another hot take. Um, I think I this is gonna be a kind of a silly hot take because just only I'm kind of taking this only from seeing a couple cards that they've been sneak peeking. But we were just talking about that Angel card, and I know before in this I was talking about how I made a hot take about how power creep isn't gonna be like it's gonna be hard to knock out a lot of these powerful cards that are at the top of Ward right now, the Elite 8 that we kind of made. And after seeing just this card in general, that Dark Angel, I honestly I'm kind of scared. I'm gonna make a hot take that Gen 3 might actually be have a lot of have cards that are gonna replace. You know what? So I'm swinging my opinion that I already threw out there about how Gen 1 is always going to be just a staple. And again, I'm not saying that I'm happy about this. I do think that this does concern me a little bit about power creep. When you look at Dark Angel, and again, this is my just opinion, I'm not saying that it is a super powerful card, but like in my opinion, having that ability to shut down two different stats, and like if Ward is like slowly working towards that of like cards that kind of just like cover a very vast amount of different cards, I do get a little concerned. It's like I know at the moment it feels like a lot of creatures have like their specialized thing that they're like really good at, but cards like Dark Angel cover so many problems that you might have to encounter in Ward. I mean, again, I know it's effect. I know you can negate his effect. I'm not saying that make that there's like obviously there's counters to Dark Angel. But a card that basically shuts down speed and AL and they can't increase it or do anything about it, it's like there's so many creatures that rely on that stuff. I mean, I just think like Raccoon Knight. This card makes Raccoon Knight feel a little rough, you know. It's like a lot of these creatures, like it definitely deals with a lot of things that yes are pretty strong in the game. And so like again, I think just overall my take is just Gen 3 might, from at least from what the sneak peek, and again, I know I shouldn't take it off of one card, but you know what? Screw it. This is irresponsible takes, so I can make irresponsible takes, and you can talk about it in the comments if you want. But I think Gen 3 might actually be take over kind of the meta, or like take over competitive play and just power creep of cards. What's your thought, Billy?
Good take. You talking about Raccoon Knight made me realize that Dark Angel just turns all AL 12 cards to Weenie Hut Juniors. So
I'm
if
telling you.
AL 12 becomes like if there's a lot of buffs for them in Gen 3, then Dark Angel might be your best friend.
I just feel bad for Witch. Witch had a thing with, again, like in boss battles, of making the boss go down, but this dude is just he's just a powered up witch, man. Like I feel so bad.
Well, maybe you play with 3 witches and 3 dark angels. I
That's
mean,
true.
then
You
you're
could,
always
you could.
good.
I just, again, sometimes
He needs
I
a
see,
sack, you know.
I know. Sometimes I see these effects of these epics and stuff, and I just think of cards that it's like, oh, this just totally takes the place of this poor card that like didn't already see play, and it's probably just not really gonna see play. And I don't know, something about that just kind of like, oh, get a little tear in my eye. But at the end of the day, I like the card. I like how it does handle the meta. But again, I do worry, and this is kind of me putting my platform of like, hey, like cards that can do a lot of functions, they're always just going to be more inherently, like focused to be like, this is a better card, like I should run this card because of what it can do, and so it's like, that's something, just as it goes forward. Like you said, I don't know how much you can combat my take. Like you said, we don't know much about Gen 3. It's all up in the air. So it's like, obviously, I'm kind of just getting to take my shot without you even getting to really have any way to combat me, Billy. It was a little unfair of a hot take, but I just wanted to I thought it would be funny to kind of flip flop my thing. And if anybody wants to correct me and say that I'm a hypocrite, you go ahead. Tell me what video I did that irresponsible take. Go back and find it. But for right now, that's my take now, I think.
Um, my irresponsible take is that um, the mythic cards are a casual's best friend, but a comp's worst addition to a deck. I don't.
Mm.
I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough support for the mythics. Like Helping Hand and Dawn of the Chickens kind of feels like what goes with the creator, and what goes with Undead King heroism. I don't know. It looks really fun, like in a casual setting, to just beat them up with like all your limited summons from the cemetery, or limiting summon creators are like sack of 3 and put a big one out there. I don't think they're good and competitive, and that's kind of a shame. So my irresponsible take is Give me mythic support. I want mythic cards in Gen 3 that'll help the creator and help Undead King. I don't know what it looks like, but give me something. I don't know. We need more. Make the mythics great again. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that is it. I'm not gonna lie, that's a hot take. I think yeah, in a casual sense, mythics are inherently like strong. Like if you're just not, if you've never seen how the mythics work or how they function, or if you don't have access to cards that are great at dealing with them, I could totally see why, like you said, it's like it's easy for people to just be like, ooh, creator, big stat card, beefcake, great card, right? It's like Undead King, like you said, really fun effect. No matter what deck you have, it's a fun effect to bring out your creatures that have already died and take HP out of your cemetery.
Yeah, it's like I like it a lot, but that means if I want Undead King at his fullest potential, I need to have a lot of crap dead. And if I have a lot of crap dead, then I can really only play Undead King once because he's 100 health, and I'll have a bunch of HP in the cemetery. And if he dies, it's like, okay, well, maybe I have two in my deck. Okay, you still have to sack for it, so now you know the math ain't mathin'. So like, you know,
yeah,
Joe's creator deck uh, focuses on playing creator and playing it multiple times. So at least I can get it from that perspective. Like, okay, so you can arrange your deck to make creator play a bunch of times. Undead King, I can't figure out how to play it more than once without like it being Weenie Hut Juniors, and it'll especially be against Dark Angel. So I don't know. I think we need some more Mythic support. So hopefully we get something Gen 3. Hope it maybe the Mythic in Gen 3 is just gonna be Uber Town. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, on October 12th.
I think you're hitting an interesting point about, and I don't think it's so much maybe a mythic problem. I mean, I do see what you're saying with the
It's
mythics,
just two cards. I
but
mean, it's
well,
not mythic. It's just
that I just again I think the AL12 is kind of the thing where it's like if I look at Ward, the sacking mechanic for AL12s, it's like when you think about it, it's like it has to be really worth it. And at the point of like even if you are sacking a beaver and a 40 HP creature, first off, you're putting those creatures in your deck. And second off, it's like you still, it's like, do you even get enough value out of that creature that is AL12 that you're bringing out? It's like most times, I don't know. I would say it's not, they don't feel as valuable and as impactful. Like, I mean, if you look at the decks that a lot of people run, it's like they don't usually run those creatures unless they have a good, a good card that's like, uh, can, like you said, that can actually like be worth the value of it.
casually, yes, every time. Competitively, no.
Yeah, sorry. Speaking on just a competitive level, I mean, what's kind of funny, Billy, is that I think that the Ward staff are very great at creating AL11 creatures that are good boss creatures. If as silly as that might sound, I think of like Steam Rex is just like a perfect example of like this is like it feels
God
like
Killer Brox.
yeah, God Killer Brock's another good one. Even a card I'm thinking like Basculus, is that no? Is that an AL11 or 10? Either way, it's like that card in itself.
And
Either way, it's like in itself that's pretty fun card. Like I remember when I cracked my first Basculus and I played it in a deck, and it was just like this creature I don't have to hit anything and it just does 5 damage every time on my turn. Like okay, like I'll take 5+ damage. Like you know what I mean? It's just like I think unfortunately I think like they do a very good job with like making these creatures at like the AL10, AL11 range. That I'm trying to think of another AL11 that is coming to mind. But either way, it's just they usually have a little more fun and oomph to those creatures. Where it's like these AL12s like just never feel like they have. I mean, at least in my opinion, in competitive play, they just don't have enough oomph to really justify like. Here, let me sack 2 things out of my hand to give me this value. Or in your case, the creator, 3 things. I mean,
yeah.
hell, there's like never a deck. Like if I'm putting the value of 4 creatures in theory on the field, it's like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. And that's where other cards too, like I'm thinking like Perfect Shark, Eternal Dragon. These cards are probably going to see a lot more play just because at least in competitive, because you just don't have to commit so much to them, if you know what I mean. It's like there's other ways to play around with those stacking mechanics. But other than that, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's hard.
I mean, Ward United great step in the direction. It's an awesome card because now you're rewarding for sacking. Like you're giving value. Like creator, I get 3 sacks, I get all their attack to it. Yeah, that's awesome. You only have one, and it's a boss promo. So there's like a week you can get it, and that's it. So it's like, I'm not building a deck around one card. So I don't know. We need some cards in Gen 3. I keep saying that. You can make a promo card. I don't care. We need some cards that just give some more. I don't know if the word is, but like maybe I want the like you said. Does it feel like it's worth it to sack these creatures? Maybe not. I feel the same. So we need something in the game to make it more worth it. More
Right.
oomph, better
Hmm.
effect. I don't know. Now go back to your deck. We'll find out.
Well, like you said, yeah. I don't think we're ever gonna get. I guess in your opinion, like or like what you were saying is like I don't think we're ever gonna get another creator. You know what I mean? I don't think. I think the whole point of creator is the best vanilla monster that you can, monster. That's vanilla creature you can bring out. You know what I mean? That's what the creator is. And so it's like I would like to believe that as they go forward with these gens, you're not just gonna get a more powerful vanilla creature like the creator. You're gonna keep getting these different versions of different cards that kind
No,
of like
and
fit that fun like play style. Because it's like one of those things too. I think a hot take that like I just thought of too to kind of piggyback off yours is just like, are we ever gonna have to limit a mythic card? Right? Is there ever gonna be a time where a mythic card gets limited and put on the limit list? Like I don't know, because like I just think they're just usually creatures. At least at this moment, they're creatures. I mean, we've only had two, so it's not very good data to pull from, but. If we do get a magic mythic card, I mean, that is probably the best chance. That will be the best chance of us potentially having a way too busted card because, like, whatever you put at mythic level of magic, people are going to expect that thing is going to be doing some stuff. So, but
I
yeah.
mean, I personally believe Assassin should be limited, and it's not on the Elite Eight. So
Hmm.
there's your sign.
Dang. Okay. Hot Billy coming in with a spicy, irresponsible take out of
It's
nowhere.
not spicy. Get 3 Assassins out of here.
I don't
One is
know.
fine.
Wow, that's an interesting take. I don't know. I feel like decks with 3 assassins. Like I feel like there's a lot of inherent stuff in war to deal with them. But yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
That's an interesting. It's a yeah. Either way, those were our irresponsible takes. Take what you can from them. I really like Billy that last one about the mythics. I think that's a really good take, and I think maybe shines a little bit more light on competitive play compared to like casual play. And I think a lot of new people coming in from the Discord and just in general that haven't played Ward, I think that does give like a kind of a cool representation of those things. But either way, go in the comments, and definitely like, subscribe while you're over in the comments, and leave how you feel about the irresponsible takes. Be like, hey, I agree with that, I disagree with that. This is my take on those things, and yeah, we'd love to chat and have people talk about that. With that, Billy, though, I think we're wrapping up. We're gonna get to final thoughts here. What do you got for final thoughts? Or I'll give you the option. You can do a KC combo. Whatever one you're feeling. We'll throw them in
I'll
together.
I'll do a final thought. Just because it kind of lines up what we're talking about. You mentioned like there'll never be another creator again, and that's a good thing. 150, 1010, 12 AL, 12 speed, whatever it is. I don't know. That it seems like at least with Gen 1, Gen 2, that is like the ceiling. So we're not going to get any cards that are bigger than that. We're not going to get a 200 HP. We're not going to get a 20 plus 20 because why would there be a card stronger than the creator of Ward? Like he wouldn't have made a card that's stronger than him. So,
Right.
and that is a good thing because that's going to help a little bit with like if you think about like power scaling and like power creep, like when things getting out of control. So I think that's going to help a lot with it. The very first set introduced the ceiling, and we're not going to go higher than that, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. And like I said, I don't mind that they already kind of made like the creature ceiling. Like at a certain point, Like, do I want more than like a 10/10 creature to exist in Ward? I don't think Ward needs that. I really think with a 300 HP cemetery, it's like what like what are we? The cemetery in itself too. I think is gonna create like this kind of like bounds that like Ward has to kind of be confined into, which I think is totally fine. It's like I think that is what makes it gives the Ward staff metrics to make cards and have the ability to make these interesting cards that fit within those mechanics of Ward. And so I do agree with you as much as I think, at the end of the day, they're really cool cards. And maybe that's an argument I should have made with you, Billy. Regardless of how powerful they are in the game, Mythic cards are just inherently pretty cool cards. Creator, pretty cool.
Oh
Undead
yeah,
King,
both of them are sick beyond
pretty
belief.
freaking
Love
cool.
them.
And so it's like,
Yeah, I love
yeah,
them.
as long as they go forward and they make cool mythic cards, hey man, it don't matter if they're good or not. I'll be happy to be pulling those things for sure. But no, like I said, I like that ending thought, Billy. And for me, yeah, I think overall, I just want to shout out the tournament stuff again. I know I'm a big competitive guy. We both are. We have that Average Joe tournament on the 20th here. It'll be in a couple days from when this gets released, or actually a day away from when this hopefully comes out. So definitely, if you're interested in that, get in on that tournament. And then obviously, yeah, the Irresistible Ward tournament at Globe is also going to be coming up on the 28th. So again, I've already kind of talked about those, but yeah, definitely shouting those out. And with that, guys, I think that will wrap up episode 31 of WWB. Thanks for joining us, and have a good week, guys.
Peace.